Vesuvio, Naples, in the Ponticelli district. And it's day 2 of the summer Universiade Napoli 2019. And welcome to the Vesuvio and to a session of artistic gymnastics action. After yesterday's men's team final, it's the women's team final today, which also serves as qualification in the apparatus and all-around competitions. Yesterday, Japan absolutely ran away with the men's team final. Chinese Taipei took the silver, and the Russian Federation a bronze medal in a tight battle with the Republic of Korea. And today might well be a similar story. Japan are certainly the favourites if you look simply at the achievements of the highly impressive team that they have sent to this competition. But one can never rule out, of course, the Russian Federation. And indeed, one of Chinese Taipei, buoyed by the incredible success of the men's squad yesterday. Certainly their women's team will come out ready to attack this challenge, and we're going to see them in the first subdivision of this team final. In just a moment, the noise indicates that we're also going to see the host nation and the Italian squad, represented by Carlotta Felito, Laura Mori and Martina Rizzelli. And the lion's share of the roar is certainly for this impressive group of gymnasts who are desperate to take the opportunity to perform to the very highest level in front of their home support. We're going to see in this first subdivision of competition the Republic of Korea paired with the Chinese Taipei, and Finland paired with Italy. To come later on, Canada, the Russian Federation and Japan. So it's up to these 4 teams to set the pace in the women's team competition. And how do you go about doing that? Well, it's registering 2 high scores on each piece of apparatus. 3 gymnasts are in the vast majority of the teams. All bar Finland are sending 3 gymnasts here to this team competition, but only 2 scores count, and that is absolutely fundamental, because the coaches don't have to send out all 3 gymnasts on every piece. Some will be doing that, the Republic of Korea and Chinese Taipei, that's very much their intention. And Finland are going to have to do that with just the 2 gymnasts in their squad. Italy will mix things up a little bit. Sometimes they'll have all 3 competing on a piece, and on other occasions just the 2. All of that means, in essence, that if you send 3 gymnasts out, you've got the opportunity for something to go wrong, but equally, you might want to pace the team for the competition, especially if you have some specialists on particular pieces who can be relied upon to deliver particularly strong performances. No sense in sending them out on a piece right before the, in inverted commas, guaranteed big score. All of that, the fun of the fair, the interesting things for us to work out. Starting on the uneven bars, Finland and Italy, and Italy will not be using Carlotta Felito on this piece of apparatus. Those of you who've been watching the Universiade right from the start will have seen Carlotta Felito already, because she was a pivotal figure in the lighting of the torch. The rather splendid opening ceremony that concluded with Andrea Bocelli delivering a most stirring performance of 3 songs, including one with his son. It was quite spectacular, actually. Some of you, I'm absolutely certain, will have been watching the Universiade for many years and have seen a lot of competition take place in Chinese Taipei or Guangzhou before that, or even Kazan before that. We've actually got some competitors who go back to those previous competitions. The Russian Federation team boasts the highly experienced Lilia Akaimova, who took a gold medal in 2017. Canada have Danelle Pedrick, who also took a silver in 2017. And Japan have Asuka Teramoto, who took a bronze in 2017. But we also have returning gymnasts from 2015 and even a returner from 2013, a gymnast that a lot of people out there, I'm sure some of you watching know exactly who I'm talking about, that people are extremely excited to see back in competition. And people are extremely excited to see the Italian team as well in competition. And yesterday the Italian men finished in 4th position, having gone in the earlier subdivision of this final. It is a joy to have your company wherever you're watching the action from. Ollie Hogben here in the Pala Vesuvio in Naples. Thank you very much indeed for joining in with the spirit of university sport in a city very well suited to it. The University of Naples, founded in 1224, one of the world's oldest institutions of higher education. All of these athletes involved in some form of further or higher education study, but all of that is very far from their minds. At the moment, what is on their minds is glory in this team competition. And indeed, as part of it, securing strong qualification places for the all-around or the apparatus finals. And at the risk of stating things that many of you will know as long-time gymnastics fans, for the new viewer to our sport, then it's not the case that every gymnast has to attempt qualification for the all-around. They can pick apparatuses as they choose. Some gymnasts very much are, if it's not too much of an oxymoron to say they are all-around specialists, if you know what I mean. They are particularly skilled at producing high-quality performances across all the four pieces, and there are other gymnasts who really do hit the big difficulty and big scores on particular pieces of apparatus. All of that we will endeavour to uncover as the action unfolds in front of us here at the Pala Vesuvio. Tomorrow it will be the turn of the all-around gymnasts in both the men's and women's competition, and then the women's and men's apparatus finals will take place the day after that. So it's going to be a super weekend of artistic gymnastics action. And then there'll be a break of 3 days before the rhythmic gymnastics takes centre stage in the Pala Vesuvio. So a lot of great gymnastics to come in this space. You may have caught a glimpse there, those of you who are eagle-eyed fans of gymnastics, of a very experienced German gymnast, Janine Berger, who's back in competition. She competed earlier on the vault and the uneven bars, which is very much what she is specialising in at the moment. And what I shall endeavour to do as best as possible throughout this broadcast is to give you an idea of who is leading the way in the apparatus qualifications as well. What I can tell you is in the all-around, Yana Fedorova of Ukraine is the pace setter with a score of 49.75, but all of the gymnasts that have performed so far in all-around qualification will be nervously awaiting some of the strongest all-around gymnasts who are still to come in these next couple of subdivisions. And so it is time for us to begin this women's team final. Kim Chaeyeon of the Republic of Korea, 20-year-old from Seoul, to vault. And a nice secure beginning. And actually, if the numbering is correct, I think that is Gule Won who was due to be wearing the number 227, but we'll just get confirmation on that in a short while. Well executed vault. Not the most complex of vaults that we will see in this competition, but very nicely delivered. It is indeed a vault by Kim Chaeyeon. And she was part of this team at the last Universiade, which finished 8th. So very much a valued member of the squad to be bringing back her experience from having competed at an existing Universiade. And she has a score of 12.5. Now it is to Gule Won. First big international competition really for her. And just a little more pikes on her landing, but still executed with a great deal of solidity. A little bit of protection around that left knee, left thigh area. Didn't get maybe the ideal push away off the springboard. But the line was quite nice in terms of its central attack. Not an enormous amount of height. And the score is 12.45. Difficulty score of 4. Yang Semi, the final gymnast to vault for the Republic of Korea. That was really nicely executed. 19-year-old, recently graduated from Namyong High School. Moving away on to university study. And she got a little bit more power perhaps in that vault than the first couple that we've seen. Kept the line nice and central. All of the Korean gymnasts have done that. Maybe this angle shows just a little bit more lift off from the table. I suspect that the Republic of Korea will be pretty happy with that as a first collection of scores. 13.35, higher difficulty score. And Yang Semi will be vaulting again. She's the only Korean gymnast who is attempting qualification for the vault final. So this will not contribute to the team score. And that unfortunately may well preclude her participation in the aforementioned vault final. It's coming down in a most pronounced way. But she's made her big contribution to the team score with that 13.35. Just didn't get that rotated at all in quite the right way. The push away off the springboard perhaps not quite ideal. .85 the score for the second, so 12.6 for Yang Semi. Makes her the 6th strongest performer in the vault so far.
Vault, Chinese Taipei, Hu Xing-fen. First vault. Bars, Finland, Rosanna Ojala.
Rosanna Ojala of Finland awaiting instruction to begin her performance on the uneven bars. Finland just have the 2 gymnasts entered in this competition. So there's a lot of work on Ojala and Maija Leinonen. So to the 24-year-old who studies at the University of Tampere. Starts off with a Kachev into the Pak Salto, nice and clean. This is the Maloney transition, very common one to see. Just a little bit short there.
Second ball.
To a nice, simple but stable dismount. It was a well-executed routine from Rosanna Ojala. And she is the reigning Finnish uneven bars champion. That was her first ever title that she got earlier this year at senior competition, and she's worked extremely hard for that. And it has made her a significantly more confident performer on this apparatus. Simple dismount, but Nicely executed, not an awful lot to be unhappy with.
Volt, Fang, Ho, Xing, Chinese Taipei.
Rosanna Oyala waiting for her score to come in. Meanwhile, the Italian team are getting ready to take to the uneven bars. Oyala with a score of 11.95. That is the 8th strongest that we've had so far. So she's in a qualification position, but will have no expectation reasonably of keeping in that qualification position. Now to Martina Rizzelli of Italy on the uneven bars. Powerful work to start as she moves from the first catch into the back salto. This is very much what she does. She consistently makes uneven bars finals at World Cup. She's a real specialist. And dismounts really nicely, brings the crowd to life in a big way. Martina Rizzelli, the 21-year-old who is studying for a degree in sports science, has produced an impressive display on the uneven bars to get Italy's campaign up and running. There's a lot to be said, isn't there, for starting with a real specialist on a piece like that. She won't be competing on the balance beam, and in the floor exercise she will be vaulting. It was a routine that worked very nicely indeed.
Volt, Chinese Taipei.
Now, just to keep you updated on other action in the competition, Fang King of Chinese Taipei, a 13.575, and Wu Xingfen, a 13.5 on vault. So Chinese Taipei have really produced some strong vaults to begin their final. They still have one more gymnast to compete on vault. Rizzelli with a score of 13.45. Strongest that we've seen so far on the uneven bars in terms of qualification for the finals. Janine Berger now dropped down into second position with 13.25. And it is Lara Mori of Italy, 20-year-old from Montevacchi. Toron Kachev, nice and secure. Just needs to build up a little bit more of that power into the final swings for the dismount, and that's a really nice start for the host nation on the uneven bars. They've really opened their campaign in some style. And they really needed to, with only 2 gymnasts going up to compete for Italy on the bars, so no score to be discarded. And they've taken advantage of the support from the home crowd. Mori has been a key competitor for Italy for a while. She performed ever so well at the Mediterranean Games last year in Tarragona, took 3 gold medals there.
Ready to change the apparatus, please.
He did make very sure of that dismount. It's a very good start for the Italian team. Cheng Fenshi with a vault score of 12.4 for Chinese Taipei. Meanwhile, for Finland, Maija Leonen producing a score of 10.5 on the uneven bar. So I think that just about covers everything that we have and haven't seen in this first rotation of competition. It is technically the third subdivision of the day, but it's the first of this team final. We had solely individual qualifiers taking place earlier. Just waiting that score for Lara Mori to come in, and there it is, 12.55 for Mori. So Mori and Rizzelli scoring 12.55 and 13.45 respectively. And what that means is that Chinese Taipei have set the early lead. Italy, Republic of Korea and Finland. Worth us bearing in mind that Chinese Taipei have already vaulted, where the scores tend to be a little bit higher, and that also applies to the Republic of Korea. So that's the conclusion of this first rotation here in the first subdivision, the first half effectively of this women's team final at Napoli 2019. These are gymnasts now that take to the uneven bars. To the balance beam for the host nation. There's a chance to see Carlotta Felito in action, and we'll see Lara Mori once more.
Durante la competizione, grazie. Don't use flash, please.
It's going to be a busy session of competition for the Finnish gymnasts, with just the two competing. Later on, as I'm sure many of you are aware, we'll have the opportunity to see the Canadian team go alongside the Russian Federation. They'll be starting on vault and working in the Olympic order. Meanwhile, Japan will be working alongside a single Dutch gymnast who's going for all-around qualification. And they'll be beginning on the uneven bars. Those will be the final three teams in this 7-strong competition. It's been an extraordinary game so far for Carlotta Felito, being involved in the lighting of the torch. She got a wonderful reception from the crowd at the opening ceremony. The Stadio San Paolo, the home of Napoli Football Club, and there were footballers from Napoli involved. Lorenzo Insigne, the captain of the squad, paired up with Carlotta Felito to do a very interesting lighting of the torch. It was most interesting. So Felito actually lit the torch herself, and then Insigne effectively struck it as a football, and it went into Vesuvius, which was a really nice nod, actually, both to the obviously the great geographical history of the region, but also its huge love of association football and its huge love of gymnastics as well, because Italian gymnastics, those of you who've been watching it for some time will know just what growth there is. And she's one of the veterans now, Felito.
Brave, Italy, Lara Mori.
So Lara Mori to compete on the balance beam. performing ever so well in domestic competitions lately. In the Serie A of gymnastics, she won the all-around gold in March, the bronze in May. And this is the work of a confident gymnast. Struggled for stability, high leg turn, but managed it. Well, they are loving every minute of what they're seeing at the moment, the Italian fans. Hardly what you call a muted reaction. They really are delighted by the start that the home team has made. Martina Rizzelli watching on for this rotation. This sequence was very confidently executed. Kept a very good line on the beam. That's where she had that little wobble. But on the whole, it was a nicely performed display. She has won a couple of medals so far this year in the World Cup competitions, Lara Mori. She's also known for producing really good work in the floor exercise. That was one of the competitions she won a gold medal in at the Mediterranean Games. Your friends and family in the crowd watching on. 12.85 is the score for Lara Mori on the balance beam. In terms of balance beam performances, it's the strongest we've seen by just half a tenth. Yang Yin of Hong Kong, 12.8 was her score. Now to Carlotta Felito. Just needed to hold herself firm and did it.
Chinese Taipei, Wu Xingfen.
Well, it just continues to be a very good campaign for Italy so far. Everything absolutely fine on the uneven bars, very secure on the balance beam. And they've got through some early challenges. They've made their way over some tough hurdles, and they have started impressively. You would trust Felito on this piece. She was a Youth Olympic Games silver medalist on the balance beam at the inaugural Youth Olympics in 2010 in Singapore. And that was steady work, well delivered. I can just feel the belief increasing in the Italian team as this rotation continues. I think she certainly feels exactly the way that the entire Italian squad does, which is they've been most well supported by the home crowd. The roar when Felito actually came out to be involved in the torch lighting was considerable and very noticeable in the stadium. They felt a lot of great support in Naples, the Italian gymnastics team. And she's very well known. She's one of the gymnasts who was part of the Parallel Live series, and she has a score of 12.85.
11 bars, Chinese Taipei, Fang Ko-ching. Beam,
Fang Ko-ching,
Maya Leinonen.
gymnast from Chinese Taipei. First chance we've had to see Chinese Taipei in action. She's got a 13.575 on the vault. Just needs to build her power back up on the bars. Just 18. And gets through that routine with not too many difficulties after that little bit of loss of pace early on. Fang Ko-ching really had a bit of a World Cup breakthrough last year when she made the floor final in Paris. She was sixth there. It was her first time in a World Cup final. And she's an experienced competitor in terms of Asian Championship appearances as well. It's been a valuable and versatile all-arounder for Chinese Taipei for a while.
Si prega di rispettare le ginnaste mantenendo silenzio durante
Next to go will be Chen Fengqi for Chinese Taipei.
Grazie. Please respect our competitors and keep quiet through competition. Thank you.
It is 11.45, the score for Fang Ko-ching.
Chinese
Taipei will be putting out a full quota of 3 gymnasts. Meanwhile, Maya Leinonen has scored 12.05 for her beam routine. First gymnast from Finland to compete after the 2 Italian gymnasts. Completes the Jaeger. Just seemed to lose her power a touch. It wasn't the tidiest high to low transition. It was a tidy dismount though. She competed at the World Championships back in 2014, Chen Fengqi. She's the only one of the Chinese Taipei squad that actually wasn't part of the most recent World Championship gathering. But what she does bring is a lot of international experience to work alongside these two teenagers. That's of real advantage. Didn't get an enormous distance away from the bars on her dismount, but she certainly was tidy in terms of the landing. We'll see how the gymnasts travel a fair bit further away from the apparatus itself. It will be the Republic of Korea next to take the uneven bars. Wu Xingfen was the first to go for Chinese Taipei on the bars and had a score of 10.35, so they're going to need this score. It's 11.35 for Chen Fengqi, so 11.35 and 11.45, the two scores that Chinese Taipei will carry through on the uneven bars. Gu Lei-won of the Republic of Korea. She vaulted a 12.45 to get her competition underway. All of these gymnasts, just as a reminder to those who've been with us since the start, they are, oh goodness, that was quite a way away from making a connection on the high bar. I was about to say they are competing for qualification for the apparatus finals as well. We'll just have another look at Gu Lei-won's release. She just starts to move quite a bit away from the bar on that release. This will give us likely a better view. It's quite clear there. She just goes a little bit far away. Touch too diagonal in that release. Her legs came very much separated as she went into the transition, hence why she's come off again. And those of you new to gymnastics, it's a full mark deduction every single time the gymnast has an unintentional dismount from the apparatus. Oh, she recovered that nicely to produce a very good dismount indeed, Gu Lei-won. They will be very much hoping, the Republic of Korea, they're not going to have to factor in that score. The likelihood is that they won't have to, because they do still have two gymnasts to go, and that's the advantage of having that extra gymnast to compete when only two scores are being counted. A nice dismount though. Tuck position was very well executed. Just allows the 20-year-old to depart from the apparatus on her terms and turn her attention very much now to the next routine. Teammate Kim Chae-yeon about to compete. There will be a large amount of execution deductions for Gu. So the score is 8.55 for Gu Lei-won. They will have the chance now, the Republic of Korea, to try to discard that And first to attempt it will be Kim Chae-yeon. Just lost the legs a little bit. Got through it okay. Time the Jaeger was a lot tidier looking. She's really having to use a lot of core strength to get the swingfulness back in the routine. Much more power there, and a good dismount from Kim Chae-yeon. And a reaction of absolute delight for that routine. She did have 2 releases and catches in there. She's got that experience. She's also got that sense of buoyancy that she brings to the team. Gives them a lift. Ginga, she just seemed to thump slightly into the bar as she came down for the catch. The Jaeger was very cleanly delivered. Dismount, she did wind up nicely to get a bit of power. Didn't get an awful lot of height, but in terms of the execution, that was good. A little bit off aim in the high five. Can't be perfect though, can you? Always good to see a gymnast come off the apparatus feeling like they've given the performance they came here to deliver. Top performer on the uneven bar so far is Martina Rizzelli. Carlotta Filito is rather enjoying herself, I think, to the amusement of Kim Chae-yeon. Probably to many of you watching too. They'll be deeply amused, Italy, if they can manage to come away with a medal in this team competition. It's going to be a tough ask because of who is to come later. If they can be in a leading position with that final subdivision to come, who knows? 11.2 the score for Kim Chae-yeon. Have quite a few execution deductions. Final gymnast of this second rotation, then we will be at the halfway point of the whole competition. It is Yang Se-mi. She produced 13.35 volt. So was a key performer in that first rotation for her country. She was 5th in the all-around competition at the last Korean Championships. Seemed to just lose all of the momentum as she transitioned from low to high. She's built it back up again nicely, and actually the layout position was really good for her finish. That was a bit of a battle just to get the pace back. She's been part of the national team for a little while now. This is her biggest competition, the 19-year-old.
That concludes the second rotation. Si conclude la seconda rotazione.
Moved nicely into the double layout dismount.
Ready to change. Cambio attrezzo.
Well, they'll be confident, the Republic of Korea, that they won't need to use the score that Goulet 1 received. So the two gymnasts after that doing exactly what's necessary in a team competition, which is helping out your teammates if all hasn't gone according to plan. And so on they move, all of them, to the third rotation. And we'll be able to bring you an update on the standings just as soon as the score for Yang Se-mi is in. It's on to the floor exercise for Italy. Some strong performers to come with Carlotta Filito and Lara Mori. Very good floor performers indeed. 11.55 is the score for Yang Se-mi. And in just a moment, able to bring you the standings at the halfway mark of the whole competition. If you're just joining the action, we're at the halfway mark of the first subdivision in this women's team final. And Italy have switched things around at the top. Chinese Taipei dropping down into second position. Still the same, 3 and 4. Republic of Korea and Finland. Really good displays from Italy on the balance beam. And Italy still have the floor and the vault to come. So they still have the opportunity to deliver some high scores from the vaulting table. After this session is concluded, we'll have a break of around about 90 minutes or so until the second half of the competition, where Canada, the Russian Federation and Japan will compete. They are all in that final subdivision by virtue of having been the competitors, the nations that secured the medals in the last women's team competition. It was Russia who took the gold, Canada the silver, and Japan the bronze in Chinese Taipei in 2017.
Vi ricordo ancora di non usare il flash. Per cortesia, non usare il flash sia per quanto riguarda la macchina fotografica che i vostri cellulari. Grazie.
Lots of support for the very popular Carlotta Felito. She's so well known to young gymnastics fans. A lot of people really first discovered her when she produced that brilliant display at the Youth Olympic Games in Singapore. The all-around bronze medal, the silver on the balance beam, bronze on the vault. Many people have done exactly the same about a young gymnast called Giorgia Vila, who was so impressive in Buenos Aires at the Youth Olympic Games 8 years on. And there's just a sense of vigour about this sport in Italy. There's a sense of optimism. Now Lara Moore is going to be the most useful asset to Italy on the floor exercise. In those aforementioned Serie A competition, she won the floor gold, along with some all-around success. And she has had World Cup success on the floor too. Rosanna Ojala of Finland about to compete on floor.
Floor, Finland, Rosanna Ojala.
And so to Rosanna Ojala, gymnast from Finland, the 24-year-old from Hamenkura, started at the University of Tampere. And she took a silver medal on floor at the last Finnish Championships. It's a routine that has some lovely choreography in there. And it's just such a shame when a gymnast takes an early tumble in one of their bigger sequences in the routine, when they have a bit of a hefty landing, because then you can just see that sense of being a touch destabilised, and it was a pretty awkward fall actually for Oyala right at the start. There's an example of it. So difficult landing as well, really coming down hard on the base of the spine. She got up straight away, carried on the routine, and as I said, it's got a lot of really nice choreography, but unfortunately also had that one of the later tumbling passes. That's really worth enjoying again. That's the work of a real dancer, somebody who is at home on the floor, even when things don't go quite according to plan from a tumbling point of view. She spent a few months last year living and training in Sweden just to try to develop herself as a gymnast, but also personally, just to do something a bit outside of her comfort zone. Worked nicely. It's not a score that she will be enormously excited to wait around for, unfortunately, due to the high number of execution deductions that there will be. Teammate Maija Leinonen waiting to go. So 9.8 for Rosanna Oyala, 5.7 for execution, plus the 0.3 penalty for the sit down out of bounds. So now a big display needed from her teammate. Over to Maija Leinonen. She took the silver medal in the all-around competition at the Finnish Nationals in May. She's a very experienced gymnast, evident from that composed display on floor. Has competed at a few European Championships, also has competed at the World Championships. And she came 9th, along with the rest of the Finnish team, a couple of years ago in Chinese Taipei. Most importantly, actually, has responded very well to a nasty injury. She had a bad ankle fracture last year. Came back to have success in the national championships. Back competing all around, like a lot of gymnasts when they've had some injury problems. They don't do the full all-around program for a little while, and that's what happened to Leinonen. Focus on the beam and the uneven bars for a little while, but she is jubilant to be back, and that's good to see. Studies at the Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences in Helsinki. The score is 11.5 for Leinonen.
Italy, Carlotta Ferlito.
Now to Carlotta Ferlito on floor. What a great sense of performance for the work of Carlotta Ferlito. That really was a very, very impressive routine. With every single routine that Italy produced, seem to start to believe more and more that actually they can get in this hunt for a medal. They can challenge. There's nice height in her leaps. There's power in the tumbling, all blended together by very nice choreography. And that sense of projection, of real performance to the routine. This nice sequence where she moves into the illusion turn after those high leg pirouettes. First Italian gymnast really to make that a part of her work. They are very much feeding off this rather vocal crowd, the Italians. Good execution to that routine. Wasn't just about performance, there was also really proficiently executed tumbling. I think she's quite overwhelmed by the reaction she's got here. Such a popular athlete. Back in 2009, believe it or not, 10 years ago, she was an enormous star in the City of Jesolo Trophy, doing very well in the junior all-around. One suspects she's about to do very well here with this score in the floor routine and also part of qualification for the floor final. Mori waiting to go. Italy just putting up two competitors in this rotation. Martina Rizzelli not competing on floor. 13.2, great score for Carlotta Ferlito.
Lara Mori, Italy.
And it's by some way the strongest mark we've had so far in the qualification for the women's floor final. Farah Abdul Hadi, second strongest, 12.55. And now to Lara Mori of Italy. Well, they absolutely adored it, as you'd expect. There is going to be a moment in that routine, unfortunately, for Lara Mori in Italy that is going to cost in terms of their score. But she is somebody who always delivers an exciting performance on the floor. Took a silver medal in both Baku and Doha in the World Cup series, including that silver medal in Baku ahead of her returning teammate Vanessa Ferrari, who already won the Melbourne competition. Her own edition of that high leg pirouette sequence into the illusion turn. That, unfortunately, is the costly moment in the routine. As a result, the expectation of a pretty significant deduction. Will it be enough for Italy to hold on to the lead? .7 is the score for Lara Mori. Chen Fengqi to compete on the balance beam for Chinese Taipei. A little bit of a wait for the gymnast from Chinese Taipei. She's the final competitor to go for them. Fan Ko-ching scored 11.75, Wu Xingfen 10.95. Now to Chen Fengqi. Chinese Taipei were in second place coming into this rotation. That is the final performance of the penultimate rotation. Chen Fengqi. She did compete at the Asian Games back in Incheon in 2014. Chinese Taipei was 7th in the team competition there. They were really just starting to emerge as a team nation. And she very much was one of the gymnasts who was part of that early emergence. A really important figure, actually, in gymnastics in Chinese Taipei, even if she hasn't been necessarily at huge amounts of international competitions in recent years. What she showed there was a degree of steadiness in that routine when they did need a score of significance. Following a score of 10.95, one of the two they've got so far, so they needed to push for something a little bit bigger than that. Sometimes the last gymnast goes into performing knowing that effectively they've got a free pass because everything's gone so well so far. On other occasions, the gymnast goes in knowing that they've absolutely got to deliver. That was the case for Chen Fengqi there.
Quarta rotazione.
You would expect that Italy have
Vault, Italy and
furthered their advantage. 11.1 is the score
Floor,
for Chen Fengqi. So a little advancement on the score of Wu Xingfen. Italy firmly ahead and out in front. Chinese Taipei and Republic of Korea pretty close. Finland in 4th position. And we move now into the final rotation of this first half of the women's team competition at Napoli 2019. Italy will send all 3 gymnasts out to compete on vault. So second opportunity, we'll have to look at Martina Rizzelli, who delivered a 13.45 on the uneven bars. Meanwhile, for the nations currently in 2nd and 3rd place, they will be competing on the floor. That's a reminder of some of the work that we've seen so far. It was Maija Leinonen. And just moments ago, Chen Fengqi completing her beam routine. And very much commanding the attention of the crowd in the Pala Vesuvio. Carlotta Felito. Before her, Rosanna Oyala. And then concluding the rotation was Lara Mori. So just the one rotation to come and then a short break in proceedings. And what we can tell you at the moment is that this is the all-around qualification led by Jana Fedorova from Barbara Mokosova and Marlies Mandersdorfer. Top 18 gymnasts go through to the all-around final to take place tomorrow. Not every gymnast has attempted every single piece, which is why some of these lower ranked competitors look like they've got a particularly unfavourable score. Those of you new to gymnastics might just be wondering about that. Right at the bottom, these are gymnasts like Martina Rizzelli, for example, who so far have only competed on the uneven bars, very much as an apparatus specialist. Rizzelli will only be going for glory in the uneven bars competition. She will only undertake 1 vault. The banner of the Korean national sport Universiade, which many of you will have seen yesterday if you were watching the men's competition. A lot of the Korean gymnasts have come through that particular institution. It's very well represented.
Stop, warm-up, floor.
Warm-ups completed and the final opportunity for these gymnasts to deliver. The competition has begun over on the floor. So our attention will remain, as expected, with the host nation. And Lara Mori will be the first gymnast to vault. So as things stand, Italy very convincingly in the lead, 76.6. Then it is Chinese Taipei, 72.575. Republic of Korea, 71.95. Finland, 66.6. 3 nations still to come. Canada, Russia and Japan. Away we go with Lara Mori. And she vaults wonderfully. Well, the thing you have to say about this Italian team is that they have kept the errors to an absolute minimum. They've been very dependable. Right from the start of competition, they looked confident. She was the only Italian gymnast to win gold medals at the Mediterranean Games in Tarragona last year, Lara Mori. Certainly her strong performances in the domestic competitions, much to report back home. Strong performances have really empowered her. She's looking confident. 13.2. And that's really good from Ritelli too. So certainly now, when Carlotta Felito comes out to vault, they can really sit back confidently and watch her attack it, because these first 2 vaults have gone very smoothly indeed for the host nation. It's really been a very positive display from Italy, and it's certainly going to put them in the hunt when the next 3 go. We're going to have an anxious wait. They'll know, undoubtedly, as Rizzelli scores a 13.3, that the quality and experience of the gymnasts in the Japan and Russian Federation teams is going to be very hard to combat. I'll be wondering perhaps if they can sneak in ahead of Canada. Carlotta Felito. Well, that just completes the whole package. 3 very accomplished vaults by Italy to bring to a close their team campaign, and those 3 gymnasts have done superbly. It is the most experienced of all who concludes the campaign. And Carlotta Felito completing Italy's sequence of vaults, but also their entire team competition. She was involved in the lighting the torch. Now, can any of the remaining teams in the second subdivision hold a candle to Italy? 13.6 is her score. And Italy will most certainly be top of the leaderboard at the conclusion of this half of the competition. They've done their job now. Rosanna Oyala, Finnish gymnast, seeking to conclude her campaign in style. And that she's done with a tidy piece of vaulting. None of the gymnasts in this particular rotation are aiming for vault final qualification. Oyala with a 12.85, her strongest score of the competition. She finishes impressively. Now to Maija Leinonen. That's a really good finish for Finland. They have delivered impressively on the vault. And those two gymnasts now can leave the competition with their heads held high. It's nice to see such a positive reaction at the end of their team competition. Lebanon was the Finnish all-around champion back in 2017.
Chinese Taipei, Chen Feng
Most
Chi.
experienced gymnast from the small town of Loja in the south of Finland. I'm sure they're all watching this and getting behind her and supporting. 12.9 is her score. So very similar, the two vaults from Leinonen and Ojalu in the judges' eyes. Competition in this first subdivision is now winding its way to a conclusion, and we will know pretty soon exactly what kind of score Italy are taking into the second half of the competition, because they are going to be the most likely team to cause problems for the three to come. Chen Feng Chi to perform her floor exercise. Final performance on floor for Chinese Taipei through Chen Feng Chi. And before that, Fan Ko King with a 12.15 and Wu Xing Fen 11.15. Didn't have the opportunity to see Chen Feng Chi at the Asian Championships in Mongolia very recently. It's a welcome return to the international fold for the 21-year-old. Routine that had some really very nice moments in it, some assured tumbling work, getting the balance right between difficulty and execution, also a nice sense of artistry as well. Superb achievement it was by the men's team to take the silver medal ahead of the Russian Federation and just behind Japan in their equivalent team final yesterday. It's a real battle on for the women's team to do the same because of the strength of some of the competitors that are going to be going up in the second subdivision. 11.35 for Chen Feng Chi. She's had a consistent display across the board. And now Kim Chae-yeon of the Republic of Korea. She did very well to recover her stability right at the end, Kim Chae-yeon, when there was a danger of just lilting to the side. I think she knows that, as well as she makes her way from the competition floor. Good to see her experience back in the Republic of Korea team. She was part of the World Championship squad in 2014 and 2015. She was very low landing that first tumbling sequence. A lot of leg strength required to keep that stable, which she showed. Right towards the conclusion of the display. From another angle, could have gone right over, managed not to do it. Two more routines to come from gymnasts from the Republic of Korea, and that will bring to a conclusion this first subdivision. Well, they're going to be feeling utterly jubilant, Italy. Laura Mori concluding her campaign with 13.2 on vault. 10.95 is the score for Kim. To Gule-won. Another gymnast based in Seoul, where there are so many institutions of higher education. She readied herself so well for that final tumbling pass after problems with the first couple. Took a degree of composure. It was impressive to see from Goulet-1. Celebrating with fellow 20-year-old and Seoul inhabitant Kim Chae-yeon. Just a touch compressed on that landing, and it was too much to ask of her to be able to stabilise it. Step back, pretty clear there. But from then on, she really did steady herself and got through that rest of the routine with some good composure. That was the final tumbling pass. It was ably performed. Chance now for all of the gymnasts to send some messages home to friends and family. Chance for them to take a few pictures of the competition, preserve some memories. They're all very excited about some of the other gymnasts they're having the chance to meet. There was an Australian gymnast called Heath Thorpe who was competing in the men's competition yesterday, and he wrote this morning that he can't believe he's in the same competition as Tatiana Nabieva. Feeling that sense of real excitement at competing alongside some gymnasts that they've actually watched and admired for so long. Goulet-1 had a score of 10.05 for the floor exercise. And now to the final performance of this subdivision, Yang Se-mi of the Republic of Korea on floor. Well, they haven't had the easiest of times, it's fair to say, the Republic of Korea on floor. But what all of the gymnasts have done is compose themselves most admirably when things were going a little bit problematically. Very determined gymnast is the 19-year-old Yang Se-mi. Made quite a big decision at the age of 8 to switch schools. She decided she wanted to commit to being a gymnast. Decided to join Dori Elementary School in Jeju in order to take up the sport because the gymnastics provision there was so much stronger. Turned out to be a very good decision indeed. As I mentioned earlier, she was 5th in the all-around at the last national championships in the Republic of Korea. Well, this is the last score to come in. Time to get a quick picture before it does. It's them rather than you, but you're welcome to get one if you wish. 10.75 for Yang Se-mi. And that brings to a close this first half of the competition. Italy, the only team to break the 100 mark, and they will now sit back to see exactly what Canada, Russia and Japan can deliver in the second half of the competition. Chinese Taipei currently in second place, Republic of Korea third, and Finland in fourth position. But a lot of action still to come, a lot of gymnastics to enjoy. Lauren Mori has gone ahead of Jana Fedorova in terms of the all-around qualification. Fang Ko-ching and Yang Semi also occupying positions in the top 8 from this rotation. And only 2 gymnasts per country are actually able to make it through to the all-around competition and the individual apparatus final, so an anxious wait for some gymnasts. But not for Italy, because they have done their job. Now they can relax and enjoy the rest of the competition, and hope they'll be enjoying it even more once the final standings are released. So for now, we'll leave you with the best of the action from this first session of 2 in the women's team final here at the Pala Vesuvio in Naples. But we'll return in a short while to bring you the second half of the women's team competition in artistic gymnastics at the Summer Universiade.